It was a Wednesday afternoon in my hotel room in Orlando, Florida, competing at the 2021 Royal International Miss Competition when I had tears streaking down my face, bawling my eyes out like false lashes coming up in a complete breakdown that led to the most remarkable breakthrough of winning an international pageant just 4 days later. Welcome back to the Pageant Gal podcast, and today we are doing a Pageant Gal pageant story time as requested by one of my favorite clients and Queen Collective members, Emma Dingle. So thank you so much, Emma, for requesting this because so much of what we see online does not showcase the real behind the scenes of what goes on in pageant circumstances, in real world pageant circumstances, especially when there's this image that we want to portray that everything's okay. And we don't want to showcase the real side. We don't want to showcase the vulnerable side. And admittedly, I was very much the same as well back when I was competing. But what we don't realize is that when we're growing into a stronger version of ourselves, a bigger leader, the next level identity who is going to win the pageant that we are seeking out, there are going to be layers that we have to shed. And this is the story about mine. So, for context, I started pageants in 2016. I won my first local title within a couple months of starting pageants. The next title I competed for after that was a national title. I won Miss Canada 2018. And then after that, my journey became win an international pageant. It just made sense. I won local, I won national. The next goal was going to be to win international, right? Complete the trifecta. Now, I competed in two previous international pageants. One I placed top 3, one I was top 15, until I went back to the drawing board and thought if I wanted to win an international pageant, I really needed to align with a system that was going to suit me a little bit better. And I could just tell, being a petite woman, the systems I was going for, I wasn't putting in the right type of work in order to be able to win them. So, very important. I knew I could win them, but I wanted a system that didn't require me to do a lot of this additional changing of myself. I wanted something that was really going to highlight who I was. And that was when I found Royal International Miss. I actually had a client who was already competing there, who we did coach her to win her national title. Shout out to Michaela DG for that. And then I'd asked her, I said, hey, can I compete with you in the Ms. division? She was in the Miss division, and she was like, heck yes, we're both going to win. And then we're both going to be roommates at internationals. So 2021 came, I was competing for the international Royal International Miss Competition. This was actually their 10th anniversary, so it was the biggest edition of the pageant. Plus, the year prior, it was 2020 and it was a COVID year. So a lot of the international delegates and state delegates rolled over their entry to 2021 because there was a lot of fear around COVID, a lot of travel shutting down. So there were over 350 delegates competing across 7 systems. A lot of energy, a lot of women. It was insanity. It was like the Disneyland of pageants. Like, I don't think anybody can truly understand 350 delegates plus all the staff, all the parents, all of the just people that were there. It was the most insane experience of my life. And in 2021, I had a really big personal identity shift as well. At the beginning of 2021, I really owned to myself, to my partner, and to my family that I didn't want to do nursing full time, and I wanted to actually start investing to grow my coaching business. And it was in January of 2021 that I invested in this year-long certification program to learn how to actually grow that business. But also with it, it was the type of program that also gave you several coaching resources and tools that had to do more with mindset, embodiment, behavioral change, right? A part of it was not just learn the business, it was actually learning how to help your clients get lasting transformational change in their life. So part of January to July of 2021, not only was I preparing for this international pageant, but I was also going through this program that wanted us to practice and use the tools with each other and on ourselves in order to get a very strong understanding of the tools so that we could use it on other people. So not only, and I promise I'm getting to the story here, I want to set up the context so you get the idea. So through that 6 months, I was doing a lot of very deep work when it came to my reality. I was uncovering a lot about myself, what I liked, what I didn't like, the beliefs that I had, the limitations that were on me. So many things were coming up and growing me as a person, even before I was growing my business or growing my skills as a competitor. And so I go in to pageant. Again, the pageant was in July. I had a couple of coaches supporting me at the time, and Royal International Miss is different than most systems, right? This is not the type of system that's like Miss USA, Miss International, Miss World. This is a youth-based pageant, so they have almost all ages. And so the type of experience that I was having there was just so different than any other pageant that I competed for. And I remember asking one of my coaches who was at the pageant, I said, I went and did my interviews. I knew I nailed those interviews. Gals, like the way that it works is Royal International Miss. It's almost like an 8 or a 9 day competition. So you have your orientation, and then every day there's different competitions happening. You can join more like optionals competitions to have a more full week, or you can not do anything and have a pretty chill week. But our interviews were at the beginning of the week. And I knew I nailed my one interview, my divisional interview, because they have two international titles. And then for my role model interview, I said I didn't know if I nailed it. Like I felt like it was a good interview, but I never did an interview that was only about community service and my project that I was bringing forward. And I asked my coach, I'm like, I think it went well. This is what they asked me. And she was like, yeah, that sounds like pretty normal. So, long story short, I had the best interview in both of those international pageants. So, haha, toss toss. That's why we do things here. So, that was on the Monday. Tuesday, I had several optional competitions, and it was a little bit of a busier day. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there wasn't much. There was like one essential competition each day, but Wednesday was like a pretty relaxed day. I don't think I had anything going on. So, in the context of it, I had flown in on Saturday. We had orientation, a whole day of parties, events, rehearsals, stuff like that on Sunday. Monday was a heavy competition day. It was 2 interviews, it was competitions, it was a party at night. Tuesday was a bunch of optional competitions, party at night. Wednesday had a chance to actually breathe and like digest everything. And this is when the breakdown came because I was so go, 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 go that this was the first time I actually had a second to be in my body, to be back in my thoughts. And the thoughts that started coming up were things like, what if it doesn't happen? Like I knew I was feeling good, but what if it doesn't happen? What if I don't win this one? I've already competed in several big pageants. Like I'm invested, I'm investing thousands of dollars every time. I'm going to have to wait another year. What if they don't see this in me? What if I have to come back next year? I don't want to come back. I just want this to be it. And I just had so many things that started to come to the surface when I had that moment to just think about it and be in our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are our thoughts. They're going to come up. We're going to have reactions to them, and that is completely normal. But it wasn't that I was just realizing these thoughts. I started to have this like attachment to them. And that's when I started having this breakdown of like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to win. This isn't going to be my year. I'm going to have to keep going. I'm going to have to keep spending. What did I do wrong? I should have prepared more. I should have prepared longer. I should have done this or that, even before the results were done. And all of this started happening. By the way, I was alone in my hotel room at this time because my roommate Michaela was off competing in other competitions. And I just remember feeling like I was wanting to hyperventilate. Now, I couldn't even call my family or anything because it's the middle of the day. People are working. Like nobody's there to just like call you and support you right from nothing. And so what I did is I reached out to my coaching group network. So in this program that we were in, there was about 200 coaches, and I posted like something so vulnerable. I posted in our Facebook group of 200 coaches, and I said, "Hey everyone, this is what I'm going through. I kind of really need support right now. Is anybody available? Like I'm going through it. My thoughts are taking over. I'm so emotional, and I just want to release them. Like I know this isn't me. Anybody want to help?" And I had one of the other coaches who is still like one of my favorite people to this day that we still stay connected. And she reached out. She said, "Hey, Maria, I'm available right now. If you want to get on a call together, let's do it." So we literally pulled up a Zoom together, and I explained everything that I was experiencing, gave her the context. She knew nothing about pageants, but she was like, "Okay, I'm here for it. I'm listening to what you're saying." And what we did in 45 minutes time truly like is so much of what I teach my clients to this day. Because I went from being in this like almost anxiety, nerve-ridden state where I was crying, I was attached. I felt just like my energy leaking everywhere from me, right? For those of you that have worked with me before, especially in our Make It Rain membership, you've learned about energy leaks and mindset leaks. I felt like I was just an open tap draining everything out of me, despite how well I felt like I did. And what we did together, what she did is, first of all, she just validated how I was feeling. And she also helped me see how she just helped me see the picture that I was in. She helped me see the complex. And this is why I love coaching, because even though I knew these tools, I was practicing these tools myself to teach to others. Sometimes we don't see the full picture when we're in the frame. And that's where it's so valuable to have a coach, to have a mentor, to hold up that mirror to show you, hey, this is what's happening. And that's what she said to me. She's like, I get it. You feel so attached to this. You want it so bad. It is like up here for you. And the thought of not getting it feels like it's being taken away. And that's where your thoughts are starting to create a story about it. And then the process that we did, and again, if you're a one-on-one client or you're been in my groups or my trainings, you've done processes like this. I won't go through the entire thing, but we did some mindset work and then we did some somatic work, essentially going through the body, like turning off the mind, going through the body and doing one of my favorite techniques, which is reframing and really looking at, okay, what is actually true and present right now? What is actually here and now for me to anchor in? So the truth was, the competition was not done. I had not lost. I did not have to compete the next year. I just started seeing how I was creating a story based on these thoughts, right? And you'll have to let me know if this episode is resonating with you and you're like, oh my gosh, Maria, you are describing like my last 5 pageant breakdowns that I've had. You'll have to let me know because I know it better than you think. And then what we did is we started shifting it into more of the empowered thought process, right? So again, a bunch of what I teach is not just fake it till you make it. Because what I could have done is I could have just touched up my makeup, gone out and was like, nope, I'm okay. I'm confident. I don't need to worry about that. But doing that is actually doing a disservice to your emotions, to your feelings. And it's actually not helping you create a stronger queen identity for yourself because you're just pushing down the feelings that want to be heard, that are scared. So we actually had to go through them. I had to sit in them. I had to feel them. I had to cry even more to come out on the other side and go, wow, wait, this is my truth. This is my power. And then we started going through what I actually brought to this title, how the work that I was doing was exactly what these people were looking for, how I had had the best interviews and I didn't even know it at the time, how I still had a whole competition to go. And then the bigger thing was, we asked and I got to think about, okay, what if I did lose? Would that be the worst thing? Would that really end me? Or am I someone who's going to keep going and keep learning, even if it took me 10 years? Am I making that mean something bad about me? That I'm a loser? That I suck? That I can't do it? Or am I someone who doesn't let the timeline affect when I'm going to achieve my goals? And just through doing a couple of these processes with this mentor coach of mine, immediately within like 30 to 45 minutes, it started to shift. It started to feel less like a chokehold on me of I need to win. What if I lose? Someone's going to take this away. It's going to take me 10 years. This is so much. It's too much. And it just felt like this weight was relieved off of me that I didn't even ever have to carry. So shortly after that, I told her, of course, thank you. I had to go. My roommate came back and I was like, okay, level head here. What is true? We have competition to go still. We're doing well. And I already had several things that I knew had I needed to improve, I could improve them for the next year or for the next set of competitions that were coming up. And I brought them in to the next day and the next day. So instead of bringing in this energy of I need to win, I'm so scared, I want this so bad, and like this kind of like tense type of energy, because need is such a negative energy to carry with you in your competition, and your judges feel it. If you're someone who needs the title, that is not queen energy. Nobody needs the title, and no judge wants to give the crown to someone who needs it. Nobody needs the title. You'll all be okay. You're all queens no matter what. And that needy energy really does suck away the way that you perform in a very authentic, natural, genuine, captivating way. So instead of going into the rest of the week with this needy energy, I felt so much lighter. I felt very authentic and true to myself. How this also benefited me was after the awards ceremony. So we have an awards ceremony on the Friday night, and then crowning and our final competition was on the Saturday. I didn't win any major awards. I placed in a couple, nothing higher than top three. But you start to hear the other girls who are hearing a lot, who are getting a lot of awards. And this could have really affected me, knowing that I didn't win any of the big awards that I wanted. I was kind of placing and okay, well, if these girls are winning these awards, what makes me think that they won't win those titles? But because I had this energy and this mindset now and this reminder of like I know my truth. I know what I'm bringing in. I know what the judges are going to see. And if they see me for what I'm bringing in, I know that I will win. It won't matter all these other awards or what other people are here to do. And if I don't win, I know what I get to do. I know what I get to step into next. I know what's available for me. I'm not done here. So going, and this was super helpful, by the way, because from our award ceremony that ended at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we had rehearsal at 7 a.m., like just a few hours later, and I was doing my own hair and makeup, so I had to wake up around 4:35 a.m. I had like 3 hours of sleep. So again, you do the math on that. Not a lot of sleep could be a very stressful state in a very negative mindset. Like that can be the reason why some people crash right at the last minute, crash and burn. I wasn't feeling that way. It was okay. We've got to wake up early, do our hair and makeup, perform. And I remember going into finals thinking to myself, Maria, do not stress about what you do on stage. You could have already won. I remember thinking that to myself because the way that it worked on stage mainly determines the divisional title holder. The role model title holder is kind of already decided ahead of time. The only time that it would change is if the role model title holder wins the divisional title holder. Then it would like switch around. Hopefully, I'm not confusing you. It's a lot, but RIM is just amazing and they give two international crowns. But for those of you that get it, you get it. And hopefully the rest of you are catching up here. So I remember thinking to myself, like, do not stress about what you do on this stage. You might have already won. And you don't even have to try harder necessarily because you've already got a title. And that was how I went into that final competition. I had more fun, even though I was completely sleepless and run down when it came to the sleep that I was getting. Even though it was 8 o'clock in the morning, competing in an international pageant, that by the time, and also, oh my gosh, on top of this, I was last called into the semifinals. That's happened to me twice now. And you kind of get in your head a little bit where you're like, okay, I know this is in a random order, but you can't help feeling like being called last is a little bit personal. Okay? It's like, can we not just put me a little bit higher? And before being called, again, I had this process of it means nothing about you, Maria. If you don't get called, this is your first time competing in this type of system. Maybe we just have a little bit more work and refinement to do. It means nothing about you. And that really did mean everything to me in that moment. Because if anybody can take something away from you, if they can take a crown, if they can take an award, if they can take a placement away from you, and it deeply affects you and your worth, that tells me we've got more work to do. Because you don't want something that somebody can take away from you. If that's the case, we need to elevate the way that you feel and view yourself. And I'm really proud that in that moment, I said to myself, if I'm not in this top, I think it was a top 16. I was like, it's okay. We're gonna obviously learn and improve and come back stronger. And I did make that top 16 spot. So I thought, okay, we do know a little bit about what we're doing, but now we got to actually go compete. Going on to the finals, again, didn't win any of the additional awards, but I did place in the top five at for the role model title. And the way it works is they crown the role model title before they crown the divisional title. We go through the fourth runner up. There were two other girls in the top five of the role model title that I was kind of like, you're going to be third and fourth runner up. I just knew it. And then the rest is going to be like, we'll see how it goes. So the fourth runner up was called, the third runner up was called. And then I'm standing with the other two in the top three. And I always have this feeling when I'm on a pageant stage, I'm very intuitive and I almost kind of know when I'm going to be called. So for context, previously, I have no idea how long this podcast episode is. I'm just having a ball of a time sharing this with you. So previously, I have been a second runner up 2 times. And both times, I knew my name was about to be called. Like I just had a feeling if I would have been higher, like a first runner up or a winner, I would have been more surprised. But in these case scenarios, I wasn't surprised that I was a second runner up. And so there was a part of me that while I was standing with the other two, I just knew my name wasn't going to be called as a second runner up. Second runner-up was called. She went off to the side. Now me and the other girl are holding hands now. And I remember sitting there just feeling so calm and telling myself, it's okay. Like, whatever happens, Maria, it's so okay. I'd never been a first runner up before. I'd never been in that position to be so close and not get it. And I just remember telling myself, it's all good. Like, whatever happens, it's meant to be. And then the other girl I was holding hands with, she just kept telling me, it's going to be you. It's going to be you. And I just remember thinking, like, why would you say that? Like, how do you know it's going to be me? I'm just over here trying to be like, it's all good. Whatever happens, I'm good. I'm going to be happy no matter the outcome. She's telling me it's going to be me. And I'm like, okay, let's breathe. And again, there's a moment where if you listen, I'm crazy, right? That's why this is the Pageant Gal podcast. That's why I have a full-time business doing this because I'm literally crazy about this stuff. But there is a way that announcers announce winners of either states or titles where it's almost like in the first breath that they take, you can tell what name they're going to say, right? They'll say like, and it's going to be an L or and it's going to be an S, right? And just depending if they're saying the first runner up or the winner, you can almost tell who it's going to be, unless if you both end up having like the same name or the same state. But that is what I listen to. So it's like a half a second before everybody else realizes who wins and who's the runner up that I'm actually already aware of it because I've listened to the first syllable and the first like movement that their mouth makes. So as they're saying the word with an M, I don't know if you can tell if you're not watching this on YouTube, when the shape that my mouth is making. And I knew that they were announcing the first runner up. And I knew that I was Canada, C, or M for Maria, but I knew that they were announcing the first runner up. So if they were saying an M word, they wouldn't be saying Maria. And they were saying the other girl's title, which now I don't even fully remember what it was. Or maybe they were saying I don't even remember. I'll have to go back and watch. This is crazy. Okay, we're going back 4 years now, so give me some slack. I ended up winning the international title and truly a jaw-dropping moment. A moment that I didn't even feel. It's almost like you're numb for a second. You're in so much shock of like, I was just crying about this a few days ago, like feeling like this was so close but so far and not knowing and questioning, and then really coming to terms in peace with it's okay if it doesn't happen. I'm a queen and a winner no matter what. I remember my worth. I remember my value. And then having it validated in real life, having it manifested, having the sash put on you, having the crown put on you, and just being like, I did that. I earned that. And I didn't just earn it by doing the outside actions. I earned it by elevating my worth in the way I felt about myself so that even if this wasn't the reality, it would have been okay. I would have still felt like a winner. And that is something I so want more pageant women to experience and feel because I know it's not like that. I know some of you are not winning and it feels like your gut and your heart is taken out of you. And I want you to know it doesn't have to be that way. And it is a journey. It is work to do. There are tears that come up. If there's no tears on your pageant journey, we got to talk about it. Tears are healing. Tears shed all of the layers of I'm not good enough away from you so that you can truly always and forever be connected to that sense of I'm always good enough. I'm always winning. I'm always a queen. So that in the breakdowns come the breakthroughs of the biggest moments of growth and the biggest wins that you can ever experience, both in life and on stage. That was a whole lot here, gals. And that was me winning my International Role Model Miss title. The biggest pageant edition for Royal International Miss after 10 years, the most delegates that they've ever had at their competition, the first time that Canada ever won an international pageant title with them. Me, Maria, at 5'2". I only had 4 months to prepare for this competition. So many other life things were going on. So many other risks that I was taking, big investments that I was making, leaps I was taking in myself, manifested in that moment to be an international title holder. And so much of what I built and what I created with my business really did come from that process. A lot of the trainings that I do when it comes to interview, when it comes to platform, when it comes to mindset, really solidified through my time training and winning that international title and getting the top interview score in both of those, in both of the competitions and in winning that title. And that is really what's different about the work that I do with my clients. It's not just about the actions to make you a title holder on the outside, it's the embodiment to make you a title holder, a winner, and a queen on the inside, where no title makes or breaks you, where no crown makes you a queen because you're already living that every single day. That is all we have for today, gals. I could go on and on about this. If you have requests for episodes, story times about certain things, please send me a message on Instagram at the Pageant Gal. I always love to hear from you. I listen to and reply to every message about the podcast. And again, this episode was from Emma Dingle for her request. So thank you so much for that. This was a ball to film for each of you, and I want to hear from you as well. As well, don't forget to share this episode with a friend if you found this really helpful. And you can also check out different ways to work with me on your journey to the crown and to being the queen of your life in the notes below, whether it's in our Make It Rain membership, in the Queen Collective, or maybe you're ready to start turning your pageant journey into a business with our program Empire in our next open round. So you can check those out below. And thank you again for being here. This means truly everything to me. And I can't wait to see you all in the next episode of the Pageant Gal podcast.